Welcome back to She Moves by Faith channel. This is part 2 of the series. Somewhere deep down, you know this isn't your final level. So why are you still playing small? You know you're capable of more, but something keeps holding you back. Today we uncover a hard truth. Sometimes what we call humility is actually fear. Hello, beautiful woman of God. Today we are talking about something many Christian women quietly struggle with. The misunderstanding of humility. Because somewhere along the way, many of us were taught ideas that sound spiritual but actually keep us small. You may have said things like, I shouldn't stand out, I shouldn't promote myself, I shouldn't want more. And you believed that shrinking yourself was humility. But what if that isn't humility at all? The lie many Christian women believe. Many Christian women confuse humility with invisibility. We think humility means staying silent even when we have wisdom, refusing opportunities, downplaying our talents, avoiding leadership, or feeling guilty for wanting growth. So instead of shining, we hide. Instead of serving boldly, we step back. Instead of using our gifts, we bury them. But hiding what God gave you does not honor Him. It actually limits what He wants to do through you. Humility is not thinking less of your gifts. Humility is recognizing who gave them to you. What Jesus actually taught. Jesus gave a powerful example. He said a lamp is not lit and then hidden under a bowl. A lamp is placed on a stand so it gives light to everyone in the house. Think about that. The purpose of light is visibility. If light refuses to shine, darkness remains. Your wisdom, your creativity, your leadership, your compassion, these are not accidents. They are assignments. God did not create you to disappear in rooms. He called you to influence. Humility versus fear, disguised as humility. Sometimes what we call humility is actually fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of appearing proud. So we shrink ourselves to stay comfortable. But humility does not mean denying your calling. Jesus Himself walked in authority yet remained humble. He taught boldly. He led confidently. He spoke truth without apology. Confidence in God's calling is not pride. It is obedience. The danger of playing small. When Christian women hide their gifts, the world loses something important. The workplace loses integrity. Families lose wisdom. Communities lose compassion. And younger women lose role models. Your light is not only for you. Someone else's breakthrough may be connected to your courage. Imagine a doctor refusing to practice medicine to appear humble, or a teacher refusing to teach to avoid attention. That wouldn't be humility, it would be withholding help. In the same way, your gifts are meant to serve others openly. What true humility looks like? True humility sounds like this. I will shine, but give God the glory. It says, I will use my voice, but stay teachable. I will pursue growth, but stay grateful. I will succeed, but remain grounded. I will lead, but serve others. Humility is not hiding your light. Humility is shining without arrogance. It is standing confidently while remembering your strength comes from God. Now let's talk about something many Christian women experience, but rarely admit. The fear behind playing small. Because sometimes the reason we stay stuck is not lack of ability, it's fear wearing spiritual language. You may have said, what if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not ready yet? And slowly, without realizing it, fear begins to control your obedience. 1. How playing small begins. Playing small rarely looks like rebellion. It looks responsible. It sounds wise. It even feels spiritual. You tell yourself, I'll apply next year. I need more preparation. I just want to be sure God confirms it again. So you delay. Applying for opportunities, sharing your ideas, starting the business, speaking up in meetings, stepping into leadership. And months turn into years. Not because God said no, but because fear said wait. 2. The hidden voice of fear. Fear is subtle. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers spiritual excuses. I'm just being humble. I'm waiting for perfect timing. I don't want to move ahead of God. But here is an important truth. Fear often disguises itself as wisdom. And the enemy doesn't always try to stop you completely. Sometimes he just convinces you to delay long enough that you doubt yourself. Because delayed obedience still keeps you from impact. 3. The 3 common fears. Let's talk honestly about the fears many Christian women carry. First one is, what if I fail? Failure feels personal. But failure is often how God trains us. Many biblical leaders learned through mistakes before stepping fully into purpose. Failure is not proof you are unqualified. Sometimes it is proof you are growing. Second one, what if people judge me? People will always have opinions. Even Jesus was misunderstood. If approval becomes your compass, purpose becomes impossible. You cannot follow God fully while trying to satisfy everyone. The third one is, what if I'm not ready? Here's the truth many of us avoid. Most callings begin before we feel ready. God rarely calls the fully prepared. He prepares the called. Readiness often comes after obedience, not before it. 4. When waiting on God isn't waiting. Now this part may be uncomfortable, but necessary. Sometimes we say, I'm waiting on God, but God has already spoken. You feel the idea repeatedly. Opportunities keep appearing. People encourage you in the same direction. Doors open, yet you hesitate. At some point, waiting stops being faith and starts being avoidance. Sometimes God is not delaying. Sometimes God is waiting on you to take the first step. Faith is not always sitting still. Often, faith is movement without full certainty. 5. Faith requires motion. Think about this. In many biblical stories, movement came first. The water parted after they stepped forward. Provision appeared after obedience. Direction became clear while walking, not while standing still. You don't need the entire plan. You only need the next step. Apply for the opportunity. Share the idea. Volunteer for leadership. Start small, but start moving. Because courage grows through action. The last section title is, Faith Requires Movement. Many of us pray for change. We ask God for growth. We desire new opportunities. But then we wait and wait and wait, not realizing that faith was never meant to be passive. Faith was always meant to move. 1. The story we know but often miss. There is a powerful moment in Scripture when the disciples were caught in a storm and they saw Jesus walking on water. Peter said something bold. Lord, if it is you, tell me to come. And Jesus said one word, come. Here is what's important. Peter did not walk on water while sitting safely in the boat. The miracle began after he stepped out. The water did not become solid first. Certainty did not come first. Movement came first. And many of us are waiting for confidence before obedience when God is asking for obedience before confidence. 2. Faith is not passive. Faith is not just believing quietly. Faith acts. Faith responds. Faith moves, even when answers are incomplete. Sometimes we think faith looks like waiting peacefully. But biblical faith often looks like courage in motion. It looks like applying even when unsure, speaking even when nervous, starting even when unprepared. Because faith trusts God enough to move without guarantees. 3. Why movement feels scary. Movement requires leaving the, quote, boat. And the boat represents comfort. It represents familiarity. It represents safety and predictability. Inside the boat, you feel protected. But inside the boat, Peter never experienced the miracle. Growth always lives outside comfort. That's why stepping into purpose feels uncomfortable. You may feel exposed when you stick up, learn new skills, accept visibility, or take leadership roles. But discomfort is often confirmation that growth is happening. 4. Growth requires action. Many Christian women are praying for doors while avoiding the actions connected to those doors. Growth requires participation. It may look like speaking up when your voice could help others, learning new skills even when you feel behind, accepting visibility instead of hiding your gifts. God often multiplies what we move with, not what we avoid. You don't grow by waiting to feel ready. You grow by stepping forward while trusting God to guide you. 5. You don't need perfect confidence. Here is freedom for someone watching today. You do not need perfect confidence. Peter wasn't fearless. He stepped out while a storm was still happening. Faith does not eliminate fear. It simply chooses Obedience over fear. Confidence is often the result of obedience, not the requirement for it. When you move, God meets you in motion. Clarity comes while walking. Strength comes while trying. Wisdom comes while doing. So if you have been waiting for certainty before taking action, hear this today. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to feel completely ready. You only need to take the next obedient step. Step out of the boat. Send the application. Start the project. Use your voice. Trust that the same God who called you will sustain you. Because miracles rarely happen where comfort lives. They happen where faith moves. Thank you so much for watching. In part 3, we answer the biggest question. How do you step into your next level without losing your faith, peace, or identity? Comment. Faith over fear.